Hey Lash friends, welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about disinfection and sterilization. If you need any materials to practice or to lash, remember that you can go ahead and check us out at www.nanamonabeauty.com. My name is Monica. I am one of the founders of Nana and Mona and also your English version instructor, and I hope you enjoy this video. Y recuerda que si te gustaría ver esta misma información pero en versión en español, puedes revisar el canal de mi amiga Adriana que va a estar en la burbujita acá arribita. Jumping straight into our topic, let's think about these two words, sterilization and disinfection. There are a couple of people who think that these words are the same, but they are not. Both of these actually work towards the same goal, but essentially the concept itself and the process are completely different, and these are two different concepts. These are the words that we are going to be focusing on today, and we're going to be showing you which one each is. So let's start by mentioning that these two processes work towards eliminating bacteria, microorganisms, virus, or any contaminating agents in general. Although they have the same purpose, as I mentioned, the process is different. When we are referring to disinfection, our objective is to reduce or eliminate any sort of bacterial, viral, or microbial life. Most likely these contaminating agents will reappear. This is why we have to create the disinfection regularly and repeat. Proper disinfection reduces any harmful materials or contaminating agents that may be in any sort of surfaces that we are using. Mostly in our cases, our hands, our tweezers, and our bed. When we talk about sterilization, not only is the objective to eliminate any contaminating agents, but also to reduce the polluting of any of the tools that we are using that are exposed to our customer. In fact, even with the sterilization, we are not assured to be 100% free of the contaminants. If we were in an operating room or a surgery room, then we would probably have a lower risk of having these contaminating agents. Because the truth is, the exposure of our materials to the air alone is already exposing all of these materials to pollutants. To summarize, sterilization is used on surgical materials or similar tools that are going to be either superficially placed or penetrating the skin of our clients. And disinfection reduces any sort of contaminating agents that may be appearing on any surface. So now with this knowledge, we can understand that disinfection and sterilization, although they are working towards the same objective, they are different concepts. For the sterilization process, we will find that it is a little more complex because we are going to have to use more specialized tools, and the process is a little different. Now we are going to see three different phases that we can use when we are doing our cleaning. Phase 1, basic or superficial cleansing. Phase 2, disinfection, and phase 3, sterilization. If you are doing phase 1 and 2, which is the basic superficial cleansing and also the disinfection, you are good to go. But if you want to go a little more further, you can go ahead and do the sterilization phase. So to understand a little more about this topic, let's review these three basic groups and also the products that we can use for cleansing. Before we begin, let's make sure that the tools we're using are anti-corrosive because we do not want this to harm or cause any damage to our materials, which can be our tweezers. If our tweezers are not surgical steel, which is the material that we use here at Nana and Mona, then you can find that when you submerge or introduce the materials to this substance, it can cause major damage. That's why it's important to have surgical or medical grade steel. Now for the first phase, which is going to be the superficial or the basic cleansing, we can find products such as alcohol. Now the alcohol can be in presentations such as the bottle itself, or maybe you could find a spray bottle or any type of towels or wipes that contain alcohol, or you can find acetone, which also comes in a number of presentations. But for both alcohol and acetone, remember that this is just going to be superficial cleansing. Alcohol can be used to wipe down surfaces and also to do an initial cleanse on any tweezers, and acetone can help us remove any excess glue or any makeup or oil remains that could have gone on our tweezers from the previous application. But there is really no disinfection here. For the second phase, which is disinfection, we can find products such as barbicide. Now for the barbicide, it's very important to read the manufacturer's label. Some of them require only a cap full of barbicide liquid diluted in water, but this can vary, as I said, depending on your manufacturer's label. So be sure to check the back. It's important to keep in mind that even if we put our materials in barbicide, there is not a 100% guarantee that our materials are going to be contamination free. In fact, there is a common mistake, which is that we reach with our hands to pick up any tweezers from the barbicide container. What we do not understand is that our hands are full of contaminating agents, and by us reaching down and grabbing our tweezers, we are automatically defeating the purpose of even disinfecting in the first place, because we are already contaminating that whole water or barbicide liquid. The correct thing, or what we suggest, is to have a separate pair of tweezers. These can be old tweezers or just tweezers that you have set aside for this purpose. And with those tweezers, remove those other tweezers that are soaking in barbicide from the liquid. Once we are done taking these tweezers out of the barbicide, make sure that we have a towel ready for the tweezers to be placed on. You can use any sort of towel, or you can use a medical towel. That is basically what the dentists use. The important thing here is after you have already soaked your materials in barbicide, that you put them or set them aside to dry. Because when you leave the tweezers or any material in the barbicide liquid for too long, the steel begins to rust. Once our tweezers are dry, we can go ahead and put them in a glass container. We want this to be a glass container specifically with a lid. For both pouring the acetone in and also storing, we want to make sure to have a glass container, because if we use a plastic container and we're using these materials, this can either alter the substance of the disinfecting solution, or it can also melt the plastic, which is something that we do not want to do. Finally, we are going to move on to the third phase, which is sterilization. Here we are going to find fun tools that are a little more complex, such as this one, which is an ultraviolet lamp. With the whole pandemic and COVID-19, these ultraviolet lamps have been a little more common, but before they were mostly used by stylists. This device is going to help us when we place the tweezers inside, we close the lid and we turn on the lamp. The ultraviolet light is going to generate heat, which is going to be killing any sort of bacteria that can be living there. We also can use this sterilizer that has stone or quartz crystals. You turn on this device, and as we did with the other one, it works with heat. We put the tips of the tweezers inside, and depending on the manufacturer, they can place the tweezers for about 10 to 12 minutes, and the sterilization process will be complete. A much more advanced process, which is for people who have bigger salons or spas or simply are attending more clients, is to have an oven-like device. This is also going to sterilize all of your materials. This device is a little more expensive and is a little more complex. And if you feel like there's no need for that yet, then you can just go ahead and use these materials that we just showed you. And another step that you can do once you have assured that your tweezers are disinfected, sterilized, and completely dried is to place them in these small little medical grade bags. They're little blue bags that you have probably seen the nail technicians use, and these are going to assure that any sterilized objects remain sterile until the next time you are using them on a client. And so I really hope that with this information you were able to understand exactly what disinfection and sterilization was. In conclusion, it is important that we not only understand this, but also apply this to our daily life. Because when we are working with eyelash extensions, we are working with a very sensitive and delicate part of the body, and we're working with very sharp materials. So we do not want to have any altercations, and we also want to be as professional and as careful as possible. And well friends, that is all for today. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. As always, it was a pleasure for me being with you today, and I really hope to see you in the next video. If you have any questions or concerns, make sure to drop them down below. I'm always happy to answer you personally. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!